Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all all doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Happy Labor Day to all of y'all. I hope y'all have had a fantastic long weekend. Some of y'all. Now, those of you who are in school, let me know. Did you get today off? Hopefully so. But I hope everyone's doing fantastic. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Let me start with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV fans. Really love reality TV fans that are out here talking Big Brother with me this evening, and those of you watching on replay as well. Guys, y'all make Monday night special, so thank you. I appreciate it. With that being said, if you have done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and that way, every time we do one of these live episodes or when I do my morning recaps, you'll get notification and you can pop out there and see what the latest is going on Big Brother. I'm figuring tonight's going to be all Big Brother talk. If y'all want to talk about some other stuff, we can. There's a few other reality shows, but it's not Big Brother, right? Especially with the week that we just got through having. I tell you what, I really thought there'd be a few days where people would be chill. They'd go to bed a little bit earlier. I could get a little extra sleep. No, not at all. Last night, Leah was up doing one-on-ones forever. So, yeah, it's been a fun week. All right, let me say this before going further while I'm thinking that we are going to be talking about spoilers. The TV episode shows who won HOH. We know who won Veto. We know what happened with the Veto this morning or this afternoon. Well, some of us do. We'll talk about it. Kind of crazy. All right, with that, let me see who all's out here. I'll start answering your questions. And yeah, we're going to talk about what happened today as well. Marilyn Southern. Hey, Marilyn, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Patricia Miller's well. Hey, Patricia. Lee Strack. Let's see, Brian Hosler. Brian, how are you, sir? Kennedy Franklin, Karen Hummer. Let's see, Karen. Let's see, Diane Cockerham as well. Hey, Diane. Ken T, Desiree Watts, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy. Carol Mosier, Ed, Laura Lewis, Paula Scar, Mark Taylor. Let's see, Doreen Morris. Doreen, how are you doing? Glad to have you out here. Kimber123, Mike Johnson, C. Gabarino. I love seeing all y'all here. Annoe, Michelle Moore, and let's see, Wyatt Garrett. Wyatt, how are you? Chaz as well. Bev77, Audrey Cobb, saying love this season. Yeah, me too. It's been fantastic. Nathina Bowman. Hey, Nathina. Julia Shepard, Rooftop Jitterbug, Marshall Davis, and I think, and Bing Bong. We'll stop it right there. If I missed anyone, sorry about that. Got a whole crowd out here this night, and Michelle Sarton McClam. Whole crowd out here, which is always a lot of fun, and Belady as well. All right, so what do y'all think? Let's just start with, before we even do any questions, for those of you who don't know what happened with the veto ceremony, I'm going to tell you. So if you want to keep the spoilers quiet, cover your ears for next 15, maybe longer than that. So Leah won the veto, right? This big, will she, won't she use the veto? What is she going to do? Quinn absolutely did not want her to use it. She absolutely did to save Angela. Leah, should she bow down to pressure? No, she did not. She used the veto on Angela. She pulled Angela off the block, forced Quinn to put up a renom. The renom is Joseph. Now, I don't know they made him pick Skittles. I don't think they ended up doing that, which Quinn had threatened to do. I think it was just he saw the writing on the wall. A lot of house complaining about Joseph over the last few days. He put Joseph up. So now it's either going to be Joseph or Rabina or Chemo heading home on Thursday. That's interesting, isn't it? I didn't predict that. On my morning recap, I said, I don't think she's going to use it. Well, she immediately proved me wrong. I'm glad she did. I mentioned before that I'm seeing Leah a lot like I'm seeing Kat from my season. People underestimated her in the beginning. They thought she was just the flirty girl in there that was just hanging around, that didn't have that much of a clue what was going on. And as she plays the game, she wins here or there. You start seeing a little bit more going on. And again, I underestimated Kat in the beginning in my season. I think a lot of people have in the house as well. I'm seeing a lot of similarities. So what do y'all think? Was it a good move for her to use the veto, or was she better off? She had mentioned last night, said, I realize if I make the move, if I use the veto, I'm going to make a statement, but I also may put a target on myself. So what do you tell me? Y'all, would y'all have done it if y'all were Leah, or is she creating too much dissension within the house, or people looking at her wrong? I'm curious to see what y'all think. All right, with that, let's see. A couple of questions. I don't want this to be me going all night long, so I want to make sure we catch a lot of questions there. Lee Strack, why do they whisper in the HOH room? You shouldn't have to. You've got the monitor outside. You can see the hallway. You can see people going back and forth. But I think people are just paranoid in the Big Brother house. Even you should be able to be back, especially if you're back by the bathroom part of the HOH room. And there's no way people are going to hear you. Now, I will say this. I was always a little bit worried when I was in the HOH room that someone who was in the have not room, if they had their ear pressed up against one of the windows, that maybe they could hear, because there's not that much space between the two. So I was always a little bit nervous about that. I don't know if that's why these people are whispering or not, but I was always, well, me, the loudmouth who got caught because I talk so loud. But I tried when I was in the HOH or in the have not room to kind of at least think of who was in the other room. Keep that in mind. So that may be part of it. I think more than anything else, you just get used to it, and you're not always looking at the monitor to see who's outside. You never know who may have their ear up against the door on the outside. You just don't know, because it's that kind of house. All right. Karen Loveland is saying, did Tucker throw the last veto he played in, or did he just miss the target? Wait, the last veto or the last AI arena? Oh, the target. Was that the launching? Oh, was that was launching at the yeah, it was Cam and Tucker at the very end, right? I don't think he missed it. I think he just those slingshots are hard. You've got to pick when you pull, because I did the slingshot competition for the Win It and You're In It. I'm my very final veto competition. Oh, I was so disappointed in that. Those slingshots are a little hard. You've got to pull back pretty hard. It's kind of a soft foam rubber type ball that you're launching. It's got a little squishiness to it. If you let go just a little bit, one way or the other, if you don't let go exactly the same with both hands, who knows which way it's going to travel. That's very uncertain in terms of launching those. And it was through several rounds. Now, having said that, he had Cam up there, right? And so is there a possibility that he thought he was going to be safe with Cam and therefore it doesn't really matter? I don't know. I don't think he threw that competition. I don't think he threw I know he didn't throw the AIBB arena. He just screwed up trying to solve that problem. That's the problem with Tucker's game plan. As much as he thought he could win any game at any time over anyone else, it's just not the way it is. There's too much randomness built into some of these games. You could be the best slingshot person in the world. Of course, who goes out and shoots giant slingshots all the time? It'd be a circus, Mr. Cannonball or something. You could be someone who's very specialized in doing those kind of launches, and you're still not going to hit the target every single time. It's just the way it goes. And the first time you don't do well, they're waiting for you, they're sitting for you, and that's what Tucker discovered. It feels like Tucker's been gone for weeks on end, even though they're still talking about him in the house so much. It still seems like the game has shifted so much just since last Thursday night, with people looking forward now and trying to figure out what's going to happen. I'm going to miss Tucker. I got to say, normally I cheer for the underdog. I was cheering for Tucker. But on the other hand, by him not being in there, I think it's letting people play with less fear, making bigger moves perhaps. And certainly we're going to see more people winning HOHs and vetoes like Leah did and all of that. So I think it's good for the game. But boy, Tucker was something else, wasn't he? What an amazing episode Thursday night. And with this BBAI arena, we don't know going in. There's never any certainty about who's getting voted out because you just don't know who even is going to be on the bench, the two chairs. It's pretty amazing. All right, Carol Mosher and Mark Taylor are saying, going to be boring without Tucker. Oh, I don't know about that. And then was it a mistake to get rid of Tucker before jury? All right, as far as the boringness, you got Joseph, you got Quinn, you've got Sad Sack Kivo, you've got Leah. I think you got enough people in this house that are going to keep it from being boring for a good long while. Now, Angela is going to be in the house at least a little bit longer. So you've got who knows when she's going to have another event, right? We'll just call it that. So I don't think so. As far as the question, was it a mistake to get rid of him too early? I guess it depends on whose side you're on. Whether if you're Joseph and you truly felt like Tucker was protecting you, then maybe so. But I think it had just gotten to a point. I think it's two things. One, Tucker was showing that he could win a lot of competitions, right? And so at that point, everyone's going to say, we got to get rid of him eventually. There's no way we can let him stay too long. Do we do it this week or do we do it in a couple of weeks? That's the only question. But then when he starts blowing up other people's games and there's a lot of people who started feeling like they couldn't trust Tucker, that he was too much looking for the chaos, looking for calling people out, looking for divisiveness. And there were people who didn't like that in the house that started not wanting to work with him. Look at T-Court. She's saying, we kind of have Tucker in our little group, but I'm not sure I really want Tucker in our group. I think there are a lot of people that were like that. And he just made too many enemies because he was too risky, too unpredictable, too focused on being the center of attention instead of maybe playing the most strategic game. There are several people who said he talks too much. He just absolutely talks too much. You can't keep anything a secret when you're talking to Tucker. And as soon as that happens, that's kind of the kiss of death sometimes in the Big Brother house. No, I don't think it was too early to get rid of him. I think people realized they had to take their shot maybe while they still could, because we don't know when this BBAI arena is going to end, what the new twist is going to be. There's just too much uncertainty. If you got the chance, you take the shot. All right, Karen Hummer is saying, what are your thoughts on Joseph? He says he keeps throwing comps, but I don't think so. I think he can't win them. Well, we're getting ready to find out, aren't we? Because he's got a pretty important comp come Thursday night called the BBAI Arena. He is on the block. He's certain. What do I think about Joseph? I think Joseph is a big fan who has decided coming in that he was going to do everything possible to stay under the radar and not make a target of himself. And as long as he was not getting himself put on the block, why win any competitions whatsoever? I kind of get his strategy. I think it's a fair strategy for the first 4 or 5 weeks when there's a lot of targets. But eventually, it's not enough just to say, I haven't done anything to you to justify you putting me on the block. Eventually, you reach a point where people say, you haven't done anything for me. So you're, at the end of the day, you're just a number, and it's not going to hurt me to get rid of you. And I feel like Joseph was starting to approach that position. We had that during my season with Sis. When she got evicted, she screamed at Jackson Nikki, saying, I never did anything to you. And he said, yeah, it's because you never won anything, so you never actually helped me either. And that's just the way it is. I feel like Joseph was getting into that territory a little bit. I think he was shocked to see Tucker gone. That was his base. That's who he thought he really could ride a few more weeks with. And when Tucker was gone and suddenly Joseph realizes he's on the bottom side of a majority in that house, I just feel like he had to do something a little bit different. He seemed to start talking a little bit more. Unfortunately for Joseph, his talking didn't really endear him to other people in the house. He spent a lot of time the last couple of days telling people what a great social game he has, how he feels safe, how he told Mackenzie, said, I don't view you as a threat anymore because I know that you can work and help my game, and I know I can beat you at the end in a final 2. So, yeah, you're not a threat, Mackenzie. Well, that's not what you tell anyone. You think it, but you don't ever tell anyone. I think Joseph really has screwed up for the last few days of talking a little too cocky, a lot too cocky, a lot too arrogant. And as a result, he became a lot of people's enemy number one. People in the house don't like to be told that there's someone who's just a little big for his britches. I've used that term before, and I feel like that's where Joseph is. So he's going to pay the price now. He was talking to Angela, saying, hey, sorry, it is what it is. You better win BBAI Arena. Well, he's kind of looking in the mirror thinking the same thing to himself at this point. All right, Julia Shepard saying, why does Leah have so much influence? Well, isn't that interesting? Leah's got the attention of some of the guys, I think. Early in the season, she had Cam that was certainly interested in her a little bit. Now she's got Joseph and Quinn that certainly care about what she thinks and love to hang out with her. Quinn has said that he'd throw away, he knows that she's a weak spot for him. He'd throw away his whole game for her. So, yeah, she's using some of her female wiles to attract some attention with them. I think in some ways Leah gets so much influence because people don't take her seriously, because they don't see her as a big threat, that they see her as just a floater. She's just a hanger-on that's not a huge threat. So why not? We'll talk to her. We'll see if we can get her as a number, but you don't have to worry about her. I mean, she's just gonna be here until we decide that she's gone, and then we'll boot her out. So she, even more so than Joseph, is just giving the appearance that she's just there. We don't have to worry about Leah. And as a result, when you get something like this, now, if she had not won the veto this week, she certainly wouldn't be getting as much attention, right? Everyone kisses up to the person who has the power, which at this point now is gone. But I think that is part of it. But I think even beyond that, it's just the fact that Leah, one, I think from a personality standpoint, I think she's a friendly person. And so people enjoy talking to her to some degree. And as well, at this point, as we're seeing so many people try to form new groups and count the votes and what can we do. And so everyone wants to try to grab the free agent, right? And she's very much a free agent. She has never really declared any kind of alliance, anything like that. She's complaining, saying, how come people never approached me with any of that kind of stuff? Well, now it's working to her benefit. She's like the free agent in football that suddenly all the best teams are out there saying, hey, come visit us. I think that's the way with Leah right now, is the fact that people trust her, because everyone, if you've got Quinn, who's been in a couple of alliances with you in the past and he's turned on you, if you've got Joseph, who formed the collective and then turned on you, well, if they approach you now wanting a new alliance, you're going to say, well, maybe, but burn me once, burn me twice. At what point do I stop wanting to get burned? With Leah, everyone's saying, well, she's never been in alliance with me. I really don't think she's had anything going on. So she's a little more fresh and a little bit more trusting, I think, at this point in time. So I think it's all working to her benefit. Now, she was worried that by using this veto, Quinn kept saying, if you use this veto from this point on, people are going to put you and Angela on the block together. You're going to be an easy target to go up alongside her. Well, if I'm Leah, I'm thinking, well, surely they're going to get rid of Angela before me in that situation, right? So maybe not the end of the world, but she does run a little bit of a risk of aligning herself with Angela as much as she has. But if Angela's gone, she's a free agent again, and she could start all over again. All right, Karen Loveland saying, you miss calling my name. Oh, Karen, I'm sorry about that. You miss calling my name. I want Ron to hear you say my name. He's in ICU with congestive heart failure. Karen, I am so sorry. You and Ron both. I know what it's. I certainly know it's like. I had some health issues with my mom that we talked about in the past. My heart and prayers are with you. Sorry I missed you, but more importantly than that, I'm sorry that y'all are having to deal with this. I will say this: I am amazed at the wonders of modern medicine in this country and what they can achieve and what they can do. And I'm sure Ron is in good hands. Ron, I'm thinking about you. Karen, I'm certainly thinking about you as well. Do me a favor. Keep me updated through DMs on Instagram or Twitter, or send me something. Let me know. I'll be thinking about y'all both tonight. That's hard. I am sorry that you're having to deal with it. I am praying for better days ahead for both of y'all moving on past this. So, Karen, I'm thinking about you. I absolutely am. Dr. Bose, let me look at this real quick. Clff, when we can't watch Jerry Lewis on Labor Day, I remember watching Jerry Lewis on Labor Day. When we can't watch Jerry Lewis on Labor Day, you're the next best thing. Thanks for all you do, Dr. Bose and Mrs. Bose. Appreciate you. Well, Dr. Bose, I appreciate the two of y'all as well. I hadn't thought about Jerry Lewis and his Labor Day telethons in a long time. I remember it was 8 or 9 years old. My brother and I went around the neighborhood and raised money and took it down to the local NBC affiliate and dropped it off. Was it Jerry Lewis, and I think Ed McMahon was part of it as well. Y'all youngsters don't know anything about that. That was back in the day when you only had half a dozen channels on TV, and they were all the March of Dimes. Was it March of Dimes or Muscular? I don't remember. Anyway, but the Jerry Lewis telethon, he raised a lot of money. Kind of funny guy. A little before even my generation, but still pretty funny guy. So now, thank you both for the history lesson. But more than that, I appreciate the super stamp. I just appreciate all the support that you give me out here as well. Thank you. All right. Anna Noe saying this season has been entertaining, but I feel like good gameplay has been lacking. Thoughts? And then Park Taylor saying whose game is getting better and whose game is getting worse. Good gameplay. No, it's such a weird season with all these weird alliances forming and reforming. Has it been good gameplay? I think it's been okay gameplay. I feel like there's some people who haven't adapted as well as maybe they need to. There's so much that is changing. And I feel there's people like Quinn and Joseph. I just keep feeling like they just have a bucket list that while I'm in the Big Brother house, I want to do this, 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 and this. I want to make a big move. I want to have some iconic saying. I just feel like they're too focused on achieving stuff in the house rather than just putting themselves sometimes in the best position. And I don't know. Quinn did. There's a lot of people who have been in a part of a whole lot of alliances, and I just don't know if that's good gameplay because I just feel like it comes back and burns you at some point. Now, on the other hand, if everyone's doing it, does anyone really hold you responsible if you're just one of many who's been doing a lot of alliances? I don't know, but I just feel like it's a little bit different gameplay even than when I was on Big Brother. And that was only 5 years ago. I was not a lot of part of a lot of alliances. I was with Nicole and myself and Jackson and Holly. And then I had Clff's Angels. And so I had one or two little groups, but I was never part of a dozen different alliances. So I think sometimes that makes for some sloppy gameplay, certainly some confusing gameplay. Whose game's hurting, whose game's getting better? I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Chelsea. I think Chelsea was doing pretty well in the beginning. She took a big hit when they flipped and saved Rabina. Suddenly she found herself on the bottom, and yet she's managed to survive. She's come right back, and I think she's in pretty good shape again. She's insulated. She's friendly. She makes friends with a lot of people. I just think Chelsea is playing a masterful game right now. I really support the way she's playing the game. I think Quinn is playing a little sloppy right now. I think his game's gotten a little worse. I think Joseph, certainly his game has gotten worse. I think T-Core, his game has gotten a little worse. She came in, she won HOH last week. The world is your oyster. And then suddenly Tucker goes home. It just feels like she lost control. Now she's complaining so much this week that people aren't consulting her, that she's just kind of an add-on and all that. As much as you hear people like Quinn or Chelsea say, everyone loves you, T-Core, everyone wants to work with you, it just doesn't seem like people really are looking to her to lead the way on any kind of new alliance or anything else. Now, maybe that pays off for her. I don't know, but I feel like T-Core and Rubina and Chemo, those three, I think they spend way too much time with each other and not enough time with other folks. And I think that has hurt their gameplay. But so, yeah, as far as who's doing better, who's doing worse, Angela doing, not Angela, Chelsea doing better, and probably Quinn, Joseph, T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina maybe doing worse. I know I'm throwing a lot more doing worse than better, right? It's just maybe there is some sloppy gameplay going on in there. I don't think that people are always adapting. As you go up and down in this game, you've got to be ready for it. And other than Chelsea, I'm not seeing a lot of people doing it. There's people like Cam who I don't think they've had a game so far to do it. Now, the other person, Mackenzie, I feel like Mackenzie's done a pretty good job. She was a free agent, and she's continued to campaign. And I don't think people necessarily are still trusting enough of her. She's always like an add-on, it seems like. No one just wants to work with her as the top person and all of that. But I think she's done a pretty good job of developing some relationships after kind of a slow start for those first 4 or 5 weeks. And I was worried about her there for a while. I thought she was going to become a perpetual pawn. I think she's almost worked her way beyond that. We'll see. It could change, but it's looking better for Mackenzie. All right. Mark is saying, sorry about your Aggies. My Michigan won, but we play Texas next week. Yeah, it's going to be a huge game next week. Longhorns and Wolverines. Yeah, my Aggies didn't do so well Saturday. I was watching that game on the TV, and I had, I had the football game on the TV. I had the live feeds on my phone. I was watching back and forth, and yeah, at the end, the live feeds didn't disappoint me the way the football game went. But hey, you know what? Football is a lot like the Big Brother house. Some weeks you're looking good, some weeks you're not looking good. You got to just keep moving forward. You can't look backwards too much. Spend an hour or two, lament your loss, and then focus on moving forward. So we didn't beat Notre Dame, but by God, we're going to beat McNeese State coming up. It is what it is. I've been through many a season cheering on the Texas Aggies. They always find a way to disappoint me, and I'll always be back cheering them on for the next season again. All right, Skylar Southsey saying they're going to mess around and Angela will make it to the final two. Hey, let's talk about that. And then Michelle Sarton McClam is saying Angela has lives. God, isn't that amazing? Something. Tina Warner saying Angela is going to be in something. I can't read what that is. Let's see. And Angela's going to be in jury. Yeah, y'all know that's one of the things that Quinn had warned Leah about. He said, look, once we get to the jury phase, no one's going to be in a big hurry to get rid of Angela because everyone's picturing themselves sitting next to Angela in a final two chair and winning against Angela and getting the big prize. Angela is, I'm not going to compare her to Victoria from season 16 because Victoria didn't win anything. But it was one of those situations where after a while, everyone's like, yeah, I know who I want to take going forward. Yeah, she could do that. If Angela plays it smart, if Angela at this point in time, she's now safe. The veto was used on her. She's not going anywhere. Surely the jury starts after this next eviction, right? It's got to. So Angela is making it to jury. I feel like at this point in time, she just needs to lay low. Just don't have any outbursts. If you win, great. If you lose one of these competitions, whatever. You don't get upset with someone if they're turning on you, whatever. Don't get mad at Leah. Just because Leah maybe suddenly is working with someone else, don't suddenly accuse her of being against you or anything else. It seems like that's Angela's operating mode, is to be all for you until she's not. And then it changes. It's either hot or cold, off or on. There's no in between, it seems like, for her. If she just chills out, lays back, plays the game, and tries to still be active in terms of supporting people and promising votes and things like that, but just don't have any more moments where you call people out, I think she could slide. At some point, people may say, look, I've got to have someone up there. I think Angela runs the same risk that I mentioned with Mackenzie just a little while ago. A lot of people may say, hey, I'm just going to put Angela up there because, why not? No one's going to get mad if I put Angela on the block. So she could just be over and over again going up on the block, which she will hate. And she's going to have to figure out some way to handle that. But if she can't handle that, then it could come down every week just to her versus someone else. And hopefully that someone else is a bigger target. They'll go after them. They'll vote them out. It's a tough position to play, but she could slide for quite a while. Now, the problem is when there's 5 or 6 people and everyone's saying, hey, I want to take Angela to the final 2, but they're also recognizing that everyone else wants to take Angela to the final 2. At some point, you may have a group of people that are saying, hey, let's just hold off taking the shots at each other for 1 week. Let's get her out. Let's take a breath, and then we'll go ahead and send her out the door. That could be a situation, the first part of a double eviction, something like that. You could maybe see her go, I don't know, but yeah, she continued. She's had the veto used on her a couple of times. She's won a couple of competitions. She continues to surprise people, right? Just when you think her 9 lives are out, here she comes again. So yeah, I'll say I'm not cheering for Angela yet. She's a heap of chaos that would stress me out if I was in the house playing the game with her. And I don't think she's played a fantastic game at all, but I'll give her credit. She did what she needed to do this week. She bonded with Leah before Leah won the veto. And that's the key, because Leah's saying, oh, everyone's now suddenly they're all in following me around and kissing up to me and all that. Well, Angela was friends with Leah way before that. And that makes a huge difference. During my season, Kat, just like Leah, won the veto. Well, she was already close friends with Jessica. And as a result, she used the veto on Jessica to pull her off the block. You can't wait until after someone has power before you go up and start kissing the ring. You need to have those relationships built ahead of time. And so, yeah, and she did that with Leah, not so many other people. But at least with Leah, she's good. So, yeah, props to Angela for surviving. Now, here's the kicker. Now that she's going to be in jury, there's going to be a lot of people that do not want to go to the jury house. Can you picture if Quinn now was to go out next week, or say Angela went out next week and then Quinn went right after her? He's already said, I don't want to be in the jury house with Angela. Well, you may get your wish, Quinn, and that may be, we may need an extra camera or 2 inside the jury house just to watch the pandemonium that ensues with that one. All right. Let's see. Judy is saying, is Joseph going home? I was thinking about that today. I was out doing labor of my own. We had our fences go down with a hurricane. I've been building a new fence and working on that, but certainly keeping track of the live feeds as well. When I heard Joseph was going up on the blocks, like, oh my gosh, is he going home? Well, you've got on one side Rubina and Rubina and Chemo, who are both going to certainly be pushing that be the situation, right? And I think there's enough people that are not fans of Joseph right now that I could see it happening. You've got Rubina and Chemo that are on the block, so they can't vote, but certainly T-Core is not going to vote to send either one of those two home. So that's a vote against Joseph. I think Mackenzie and Angela, I keep saying Angela instead of Chelsea. Chelsea is a huge not fan of Joseph. Chelsea will be voting Joseph out. Because Chelsea's voting Joseph out, I think Cam would. Now, Cam told Joseph earlier that he felt like Joseph had the votes. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think there's enough votes to get out Joseph. My big question, is Quinn going to flip on Joseph at this point in time and go ahead and send him out the door? Or is he going to try to support Joseph? He and Joseph are tight. They're trying to make people not think they are. They're trying to distance themselves, but they still had a late night meeting last night. So they still are tight with each other. Quinn, I don't know if he's ready to send Joseph out the door, but if he thinks it's a foregone conclusion, he may cut him loose without a second of hesitation. I don't know. And here's the other deal. There's starting to be more talk about a women's alliance against the men. If that gets out, if I'm Cam, if I'm Doreen Morris is saying, do you think the all girls alliance is real? Yeah, let's talk about that as well as part of this. I think it's real only because it's convenient for the women right now. Do I think it would last forever? No, but there's only 3 guys or 4 guys left in the house, so maybe it doesn't have to last forever. It only has to last a couple of weeks. If I'm one of the guys and I'm starting to worry about this, like Cam, I may want to keep Joseph in the house, not because I'm a huge fan of Joseph, but just to keep those numbers going a little bit longer, right? So I could see Quinn and Cam potentially fighting for Joseph just to keep those numbers somewhat even. It's not even already, but to keep it a little more even, I could see him doing that. But no, I think the numbers are just such that Joseph's in trouble. I don't think he's got any fans that are really going to support him in the house at this point in time. So I think the only way that he survives this week is not because someone wants to keep him in the house, but if someone decides that it's a bigger deal to try to break up T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina by getting one of them out of the house. If they think that it's more important to break them up so it gives them a little bit more power, then they could maybe make it happen. So I think from Joseph's standpoint for the next couple of days, he needs to be campaigning saying, look, I'm not a threat. Whether you believe I'm throwing the comps or you just think I'm bad at it, either way, I'm not the person that's going to be turning around voting, putting y'all on the block or anything else. It's much more likely it's those guys over there that there's a group of 3 and who knows who else they have in their pocket that you don't even know about right now. They are a group. They are a much bigger threat. I'm just Joseph. I don't have anyone in this house. That's the way I would be playing if I was Joseph. He needs to convince them that he is not the biggest threat in this house so that they start looking the other direction. I think that's his only path to salvation, that or winning the BBAI arena. I think he's in trouble. I think he could easily go home this week because he just got a lot of people worked up the way he was talking about how great his social game was and all of that. I feel in a little bit of a way like he's playing a kind of a Dr. Will game of saying, I'm going to intentionally be so antagonistic that people are just going to almost laugh at it or not take me seriously, think I'm an idiot, and then move on to more valid threats. I just don't think it's working for Joseph. It's not playing the way I think he thinks it's playing. And I don't know if he's able to pivot enough and become a charismatic or just a person who's working with a lot of people. He tends to go up into the upstairs lounge or go away from other people when times get tough. He's going to have to change that this week, I think. And he's got to say the right things. I just don't think he's doing that. Oh, all right, let's see. C. Garbino saying, does Leah gain anything for playing Veto? Well, she keeps saying she gets a vote in the jury, but she have to make final 2 before that happens. She does have a supporter in Angela, right? I mean, I think Angela will certainly support Leah. If she was to win HOH or she was to win Veto, I think she would do anything she could to save Leah. But beyond that, I think Leah gains this. I think Leah at some point in the future can tell people, say, hey, look, the whole house wanted me to use a veto on Angela, but she and I, we were like this. We were tight. I didn't do it. I don't abandon my friends just because someone is suggesting I should do it to help my game or whatever. I think she can use this as a way to build up a little loyalty, a little bit of trust with some of the other people by just saying, look, if we work together, like Quinn's wanting to work with her. Now, do you trust Quinn? I don't know, but whoever, Mackenzie, maybe he's going to work with her. It seems to me like she should be able to say, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this for real. Look at what I did with Angela. I don't abandon people. You need to support me the way I'm going to support you. But I think people are going to be a little more trusting of Leah because she did show that she was willing to put her neck on the line a little bit more just to save someone that she thinks that she's friends with and that she's been working with. So I think it helps her. Karen Hummer. Karen, thank you so much. I see a super sticker out there. I appreciate you every single week that you're out here. True friend. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate the support. So thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Tommy Braskett. Hey, Tommy, how are you? They should make them talk louder so the mics can pick them up and we can hear too. Tell me about it. I feel like I'm just going hard of hearing trying to listen to these people. They have gotten so good at being able to whisper enough to hide these conversations. And Leah does a little signing too, which I'm surprised they let her do. But yeah, they are so good. There's times where, and especially now that we don't necessarily have the replays and all of that, you've got people talking in different rooms and trying to listen to some of these whisper conversations, and you can't go back and check as easily. It drives me bonkers. The whispering in my season, it drove me bonkers. You know who in my season whispered and it just really frustrated me was Kimmy. Kimmy would talk so low, and she would try it from across the room. She'd be like, across the room or right next to me. She'd say, I'd say, what? I don't understand you, Kimmy. I didn't think I was hard of hearing till I listened to you. And she would get frustrated because I couldn't hear her. And I'd get frustrated because I thought she was telling me something really important and I couldn't hear her. But yeah, these people are good. And yes, I would think these microphones, they've got to be set up so they can listen better, right? They got microphones all over this place. Yeah, it makes it hard sometimes, but they are experts at it. Me, not so much. Yeah, I can't whisper. I don't have the pitch for a whisper. I'm just loud or more loud. I think those are my only two levels right now. At least that's what Sharon tells me all the time. All right, let's see. Fourth line maniac. All right, that's an interesting login now. I bet there's a history of that. Fourth line maniac saying Joseph should not have thrown the veto to Leah. Yeah, he said that, didn't he? That he just didn't think that he needed that veto, and why should he do it? At one point, he said something about how he felt like maybe he could have won it, but he just didn't feel like he really needed to win it. Or, you know what? Did he throw the veto? Maybe not. He also did talk about throwing the HOH competition as well. So, take that back. Yeah, the HOH competition was the chicken coop. The veto competition we haven't seen yet. And yes, he talked about throwing that he felt like he was just a couple pieces he could have switched around. He could have been there, but he did not want to win it. And then, he's sitting there saying, I don't want to have to be the one that's being forced to decide whether or not to use a veto. Well, when you win veto, it also means that you can't go on the block, Joseph. And I'm sure he's regretting that a little bit at this point in time. I'm telling you, there were competitions during my season where I never threw one. I never tried to throw a single competition. But there were certainly some I was a lot more worried about than others. Some I felt like, if I don't win, it's probably going to be okay. But if you get into this mode of just throwing comps, eventually it's going to burn you. And how bad are you going to feel when you go home knowing that maybe it could have been differently if you just tried during one of these competitions? Well, Joseph may get that chance to wonder about that kind of regret because, he very vocally did tell us on the cameras that he threw that competition. He said that he also threw the wall comp, and there was one other that he has thrown so far this season. So, yeah, I get what he's doing. And never win anything and you're not a threat, but I think it's okay to win the occasional competition to also show people that you can support some of the people who maybe were in alliances with you. And he hadn't done that so far. And now he's going to pay the price for it. And he's going to have regrets for a long time. Assuming he goes home Thursday. Maybe he wins AIBB Arena. Maybe he turns it on. Maybe Joseph is a comp beast that we just don't know about. And he's going to be like Michael from this point on. Tucker's gone. Now Joseph is going to win every competition from this point on. He's going to be the new Jag Baines and shock us all. Yeah, I don't think so. But prove me wrong, Joseph. Show me that you got something else in the tank there. All right. Karen Loveland saying, you picked Tucker to win it all. Now, who is your second choice? I did. I had Tucker picked to win the whole thing. I just didn't think he was going to be quite so over the top with the way he played the game. I thought his charisma was going to carry him through. So who's my new choice to win this whole thing? Quinn, I think, is going to burn too many bridges. At some point, someone's going to make him pay the price for that. Mackenzie's not quite playing the game yet to get her there. T-Core is doing okay. I think Chemo and Rabina are in trouble. Yeah, I mentioned her before, and I think I'll stick with it. I think that Chelsea is in a pretty good position. No one dislikes Chelsea, right? I mean, certainly Tucker was a little upset with her and Brooklyn earlier, but now that Brooklyn's gone, I think Chelsea just she's got Cam now feeling very friendly with her, Quinn wanting to work with her, T-Core wanting to protect her. I'm gonna say that Chelsea's played a heck of a job. She's doing well. Can I say again how much I like her game? So yeah, I'll pick Chelsea as my new number 2 to win, which is funny because she's not officially part of the majority. Maybe she is now that she voted out Tucker. Maybe that week before Flip is gone. People have already forgotten. 2 weeks ago, it's ancient history. It's under the bridge, water under the bridge. So yeah, I think Chelsea's playing a fantastic game. All right, Chaz, thank you, Chaz, for the support, the super sticker. Chaz is saying, do you think you had the votes to beat Nicole? If so, who are your 5 votes? Sorry about your Aggies. I'm a Buckeye, but was rooting for them for you. So you're assuming that Nicole and I make it to the final 2 during season 21. Do I have the votes to beat her? Yeah. I mean, nothing against Nicole, but yes, I thought I had the votes to beat her. People did not give Nicole credit for anything that she did in that game. And I think I would have had the votes. Some of it depends on how the 2 of us get to the final. But I definitely feel like I had Kat's vote at the time. I think I probably had Tommy and I'm just pretty certain I had Tommy and Christy's vote. I think I could have had Jackson's vote unless I just absolutely burned him in the end. But I would think I'd have Jackson's vote, maybe Holly's vote. I think I would have had I think I probably would have had Sis and Jack's vote as well. I think I would have had a lot of votes. I truly do. Now, could there be a few people who voted for, I don't know. I think I had the votes. I think it was unfair to Nicole. She played more game than people gave her credit for. But I knew that going to the end, and I was going to absolutely take advantage of that. Especially, I was going to talk about that. I had to work from the very beginning through to the very end, that I'd fought multiple times to save myself. Nicole had never really been threatened. I hadn't had to play nearly as hard as I had. And yeah, I feel like I could have given a good final 2 speech to make it to the end. I would have been unanimous. Yeah, I'd like to think so. But I don't know. But I do think I would have had the votes. And I know Nicole thinks that she could have had the votes too. We'll never know. Unfortunately, we'll never know. But it's fun to think about. Trust me, I've thought about it a few times over the years. All right. Bellini's saying, I don't understand why Angela keeps getting saved. And Chaz saying, at what point should people start thinking about taking Angela to the final 2? Well, jury, start talking about it now, thinking about it. Don't talk about it. Just think about it. The problem, and we talked about that a little earlier, but I think people are, even if they're not consciously saying, I want to save her for final 2, I think it's more a matter of someone saying, I'm HOH. Do I really want to waste my HOH week on sending Angela out the door? There's always, I think, going to be bigger targets out there going forward. So you may put her up alongside who you want to be your target. And there may come a time where she goes home because your target ends up getting more votes than you thought they gathered, things like that. But yeah, I think people should be worried as soon as we hit jury, which we are at. And why do people keep saving Angela? It's because I don't know. Yeah. Explain why Tucker used the veto on Angela other than himself. Because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he sometimes seemed to care more about making a big splash than he did about playing the game the way you think it ought to be played. Now, it worked out for him that time, but why did he save her? Just because Tucker's Tucker. With Leah saving Angela, it's because she sees someone who is very alone. And part of this, I do feel like Leah, she's talked before that people underestimate her, or not that people ignore her, that they actually make fun of her behind her back. She's seen the way people make faces sometimes when she talks, that no one's approached her about alliances and all that. Leah feels like people aren't giving her any credit for any kind of game she's playing. So I think she's feeling very alone. So now she sees Angela feeling very alone also. And I think that's created a little bit of a bond between these two, which paid off for Angela. Why shouldn't Leah save Angela this? Well, there's some reason. Does it put a target on your back and all that? But Leah won the veto. She can't get put on the block. So use it. Save your buddy. Maybe Angela then wins something and saves you in return. I think people keep saving Angela because, one, people don't see Angela as the biggest threat against other people. And two, because I was going to say because of loyalty, because they think Angela, if they do something for Angela, Angela will do something for them. But we saw with Tucker, she proved him wrong on that, right? I don't know. I think people just see bigger targets in this house right now. They're just not focused on Angela, and that may pay off for Angela on down the road. I don't think she makes final two. I think someone takes her out at some point, but she's jury now. She's going to go a ways. I don't think we're going to see her. I was going to say we're not going to see her go over the next few weeks. We'll see. I think every week is a danger week for Angela going forward. But yeah, I think there's also going to always be bigger threats in this house. So that may be her path to salvation. All right. Brianna Lane is saying, why does production show letters from home to HOHs? And Christy Kozar saying, how do they get pictures of family if they aren't HOH? Well, first of all, if you aren't HOH, you don't get pictures from home. You only get it if you won HOH. Now, let me tell you how it worked with my family in the way when I won HOH. At the very beginning of the season, pretty much, my family was asked to send photos to Big Brother, to production, and also send an HOH letter and all that. It's not like it happens the night of, that suddenly someone writes a letter as soon as they see that you've won. No, they already have that ready to go. And so in my case, I won HOH. They said, hey, go over there, pull up those pictures that we got from Clff's family. Go pull up that HOH letter from his wife. So they had it ready to go. They did not use the original letter. They retype it. And that's what I got. And then the photos, they printed them out. I think they sent them in computer and all, and then they printed it out and all that. So, but yeah, you do not get letters from home unless you've won HOH. Now, the difference during my season, we didn't get to keep our photos or our letters. You had it during your HOH week, and then you left them and it went away. It seems like now you get to hold on to them. I hope they didn't give us that option and we just were too dumb to ask during our seasons, because now you see them weeks later that they still have them with them. But you've got to win HOH in order for that to happen. As far as why they read the letters from the HOH and all that, they're just trying to humanize the people. And it was cool. I know the one I remember, for example, is Tommy. When he won HOH, now on the one hand, I'm scared to death because I know Tommy's going to put me on the block. But when I went up to his HOH room and I got to see pictures of him with his parents, with his brother, reading a letter, I think it may have been from his dad, suddenly I got to see a side of Tommy that you just don't get to see inside the house. You know, it's all cutthroat and betrayal and all that. And every time I would go into someone's HOH room, I got to see a side of them that you didn't necessarily. Jessica the same way with her daughter and her husband and all that. I just remember a few HOHs. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm seeing you as a complete person as opposed to just that part that you're revealing inside the house. So I always enjoyed, I truly, even when it was someone that was going to put me on the block, I truly enjoyed going up and seeing what their home life was like and those photos and everything else. I think most of us do. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Amik is saying, Leah said productions steered her towards keeping Angela. Does that happen? I hope that's not the case. Can it happen? Sure. And here's the way it can happen. It's not like, I don't think it's a situation where Leah went in and said, "Hey, Leah, we'd really love to see you use this veto. It really would be great if you did it." I never had a situation where they were ever straightforward with me like that. "Hey, Clff, we want you to use HOH on this." Now, I never got that. Where it is potentially more of a possibility is the questions they ask. Leah comes into the diary room and they say, "Hey, Leah, lay out your pros and cons of using the veto versus not using the veto," and getting her to answer that, and then them saying, "Okay, well, you said one of the cons is that Quinn will be mad at you if you don't use it." Have you ever thought, how do you think people would respond if you're doing it because Quinn's asking you to do it? Or have you ever thought about, how you're going to interact with Quinn if he tells you to do it and you do it? Yeah, and I'm not really phrasing that well, but y'all know what I mean, right? You can ask leading questions that get you to think about things that maybe you haven't thought about before, or they can start focusing on the pro versus the con. And that, "Hey, Leah, if you win this, yeah, you're going to save Angela this week. Do you think Angela would turn around and repay the favor if she won veto next week and you were on the block?" They can do things like that to help get you thinking a certain way. At the end of the day, it is completely up to you on this. But yeah, I had it in my own season where there were times where they'd say, "Hey, Clff, you're saying you're going to do this. Do you trust this person to do it? Hey, you've made this deal with Christy. Do you trust her to honor the deal going forward? If you don't use the veto, if she doesn't use her power, you think she's going to honor the rest of it?" Well, I thought so, but now you keep asking me about it. Now I'm getting a little bit nervous about it. So yeah, they can ask pointed questions that I think that's probably what Leah meant when she said they steered her that way. I don't think it's anyone saying, "Hey, Leah, it'd be great TV if you did this." I don't see that. All right, Janet Johnson. Hey, Jan, I always appreciate everything you do for me out on the comments on YouTube and stuff. Janet is saying, "Who do you want to leave this week?" Joseph's the easy pick, right? And if he goes, we'll see what happens the rest of the game. But just for straight up drama, it's tough, because if I say someone, it doesn't mean that I am not cheering for him and that I'm not supporting him. But it would be interesting to see, for example, Chemo go, only because Chemo and T-Core are so tight with each other. It doesn't give either one of them a chance to really play the game with anyone else. If Chemo was to go, and I don't know that he will, I think he's probably the least likely of those three to go. But if he was to go, that suddenly makes T-Core a little bit more of a free agent. Well, then her and Rubina become close and tight. So if not Chemo, maybe even, but yeah, I'm just wondering what happens with T-Core if she loses some of her support and how she plays the game going forward. Does that make her more able to work with Chelsea or with, well, I don't know if she'd work with Quinn. She's a little upset with Quinn. But I think it's a little bit like Brooklyn and Chelsea. They were so close and tight with one another. Once one of them went, you got to see the chance for the other one to really play their own game. Maybe we'll see that with Rubina now that Tucker's gone, but she's latched on to Chemo and T-Core so much. Who knows? So yeah, maybe Chemo or Rubina just to stir up the chaos just a little bit more. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see which one goes this week. All right, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy saying, checking to see if I can get in for September 26th eviction night. Oh, that would be fun. We're going to have to, yeah, I hope you do. I so hope you do. Certainly we're going to be cheering you on and wanting to get all kinds of feedback on how that goes once you get a chance to get in. That's so cool. I hope you get in, Cindy. All right, Miss Fire saying, hey, Miss Fire, I'm glad you're out here. Is double eviction this week? I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so, I don't think they're going to have one person not jury, and then later in the night, they're going to send someone else out, and that person goes into jury. I just don't think they like doing that. So, no, I think we've got at least one more week before you have any kind of a double eviction. And then maybe you get double eviction for the first two jury members. That's my guess. All right, Ma is saying, Ma, I'm glad to see you here as well. Ma is saying, hope they do a slip and slide competition. Yeah, the slip and slide. I went in knowing that probably wouldn't be my dominating competition, and it wasn't. God, that was so hard. I'd torn my calf muscle. It's so hard to push off with that stuff. But it was still fun to get to participate. It could be. We're about to that point in time where you could easily do slip and slide. Yeah, I'm all for it if it is. Tim Cox, I see a super sticker from you, sir. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it so much. I truly do. All you guys out here. And I don't want any of y'all ever think I only answer questions from super stickers. I try to catch everyone's, but Tim, thank you so much for the support. It means a lot. It truly does. Thank you. All right. What's it? Dick's Gun. Clff, what was your HOH music? George Strait. George Strait, I think his first album, which was good, except it was a little too much breakup songs and all of that. I should have had something a little more energetic, but I had to get a little George Strait in there. All right, Christy Brown saying, what are your thoughts on Mackenzie's game? I think Mackenzie's done a pretty good job. She kind of hurt herself hanging out with Matt as much as she did the first week. She was a lone wolf for a long time. I thought she could be a perpetual pawn. I feel like she's starting to do a little bit better. She's still, I don't think anyone's number one, but she's moving up the ranks. And maybe that's a good thing. You don't need to be number one. Just have a lot of people feel like you probably have their support. Now, I thought T-Core was getting closer and closer to Mackenzie. Seems like she's kind of backing off from Mackenzie a little bit now. But we're hearing talk about Chelsea and Cam and Mackenzie and Leah and Quinn is one configuration of an alliance. And her name is certainly starting to get brought up by a lot of people. So I think she's doing what she needs to do to build some relationships. She's pretty smart. She's always the last person in to talk to the HOH or the veto holder, it seems like. She's got to, I think she's getting more awareness about her. I don't think she always had that. I think she was completely in the blind sometimes about what was going on around the house, but I think that's starting to change. So I think her game is definitely improving, and she could be in for a while. I don't think anyone's looking at her as a primary target just yet. So I think she could be pretty good right now. All right, let's see. Amy Bonner saying, I'd like to see Chemo go. Yeah, I hate saying it, but it would certainly make it a little more interesting. Chemo just spends so much time just being sad. And sometimes it makes me sad when I see Chemo sad. I guess I'm a empathetic person in that way. So yeah, let's cheer it up a little bit more. If it's his time, it's his time. And yeah, it would change the game a little bit. Oh, it would make T-Core mad. She's mad at Quinn already. She'd be even more mad after that. It would be interesting. So yeah, that would be very interesting. Cindy Hart, Clff, any new ice cream flavors? Now I'm so busy with Big Brother. I had ice cream flavors made. I had what did I have? Pickles and I can't remember what else I did. Oh, macaroni and cheese ice cream. I had it made, frozen, ready to churn, and then the hurricane hit, and we had to throw everything out from the fridge and freezer. Now with Big Brother, it'll happen off season. I'm just too busy right now. All right, guys, I think with that, we're going to have to just go ahead and shut it down. It's already 8 o'clock. We could talk for hours on this, so we won't do that. But hey, any questions I didn't answer, send them to me by DM on either Twitter or Instagram, or you can do it on YouTube. Here, I'll check all the comments. Let me know. We'll try to carry them over for next week, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Karen, I'm thinking about you and Ray. Truly, let me know what's going on with it, and hoping for the absolute. Ron, I'm sorry. Think about you and Ron, and praying for the outcome and the medical. It's amazing what they can do now. So let me know on that. All right, guys. Y'all have a fantastic Monday. Enjoy the last little bit of a 3-day long weekend. I will be back tomorrow morning to give y'all a recap on all the repercussions of this yet another crazy week. I gotta say, I'm liking Big Brother this season. And no, it's not going to get boring just because Tucker's gone. We got enough other craziness in that house. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Until tomorrow morning or until Monday of next week, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and you hit that big old thumbs up, because you know I'm all about the thumbs up. Guys, have a great Monday. I will see y'all next week or tomorrow morning. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. Almost. There we go. Bye, guys. Y'all